Hi, this is Nish from Professional Visa and Education Services, your immigration lawyer and also Mara agent since 2015. Today I'm going to talk about this particular topic that everyone come to my office, and usually I get to ask by the people who have already received their permanent residency or citizen of this country. Now, especially in regards to their parents or their aged parents. Now, let's talk about this particular topic into more details, all right? And I will make some recommendation through this video, which will help you establish which option will be better in relation to your personal situation based on the visa subclasses available for your parents. Now, usually the people who come to Australia, they have done their homework and then also hard work in order to establish their permanent residency in Australia, and eventually their parents are in their home country. They're essentially getting old and they would like to be together while their parents is still been apart from the kids in Australia. So people usually ask me, what would be the best visa subclasses to apply for? So first thing you need to understand is, in order to apply for your parents' permanent residency, they all have to meet the family balance test. So when I'm talking about the family balance test, so the 50% of your siblings, I mean, like if there is two kids in the family from the parents, then at least 50% of the children has to be Australian citizen or permanent resident. So that is called the family balance test. So that's the first thing as an immigration lawyer that I'll be checking whether or not the person meets the family balance test. If the answer is yes, if the person meets the balance test, then I'll move on to the second component, which is the age of the parents. Depending on the age of the parents, it will make my life easier to ascertain what visa subclasses will be more preferable in your particular situation. So for example, if the parents is 67, which is the pension age in Australia, then I can tap into something called age contributory parents visa. However, if their age is below the pension age of Australia, then I need to look into various other options. Now, what is the difference between the age and the normal parents visa? Well, if you apply for the age parents visa in Australia, you are usually awarded by the bridging visa, which will allow the parents to stay with you until the visa is decided. That could take about 8, 9, 10 years, doesn't matter, but they could stay with you legally, holding a first-class citizen status and also have a work rights. Mind you, there is no medical benefit, so you still have to purchase the medical health insurance, and there is no pension because Australian government doesn't want to put the undue pressure on the tax-paying Australians or Australian citizens. So the other thing that we need to be very careful of is selecting the right visa subclasses. Now, if your parents are under the age of 67, which is the pension age, and mind you, the pension age actually changes every 3 years or 4 years. So depending on the human cycle and how much the average living age of the human being, it is actually determined based on the various factor, and then the government will prescribe the pension age for the citizens of their country. And before 67 used to be 64 and a half. So things changes. So what I'm saying is these visa subclasses are predominantly depending on the pension age at that time when you lodge the application. So the beauty of the 864, which is the age contributory parents visa that I'm referring, if your parents are at that particular age, is only one parent has to fulfill the criteria. So if you have your father and a mother, then if your father is the older ones, then just your father need to fulfill the criteria, and your mother can be accompanied in the visa application. It is a paper application which you need to post it out to Western Australia. But again, I don't want to go into the logistic of applying visa. I just want to give you the options for your parents. Now, if your parents are under 67, now there are other various options. But again, because they're not aged parents, so all visa subclasses that are less than 67 needs to be applied offshore, which means obviously there is no bridging visa associated with this. However, they all go into the queue until the visa is decided. So the option is very clear. If you're looking at the permanent residency for pension or pension age parents or someone actually less than 65 years of the years. So main thing is that's what we need to establish. After that, then we can establish what visa subclasses. Now, if your parents are less than 67, what visa subclasses you have as an option for them to stay longer in Australia? Well, it's called age 70, which is the family sponsored visa. So you can sponsor your family to stay either 3 years or 5 years, depending on how much you want to spend in last 10 years, so that they can stay and have multiple travel, and they don't have to essentially leave the country like some of these conditions are imposed in the tourist visa. Like in a visitor visa 600, there are conditions like you have to leave after certain months that will be prescribed on the visa type, and also you cannot stay more than 12 months in 18 consecutive months. So there are certain conditions that will prevent your parents to stay longer with you in Australia if they're traveling on a visitor visa. However, there are visa subclasses that will allow your parents to stay longer with you. If they are less than 67 years old, then you just simply apply for the sponsorship application, and then once the sponsorship application is approved, then this visa can be lodged for your parents. Mind you, age 70 can only be lodged offshore. Now, I hope this particular video has been quite helpful for you guys to establish what visa subclass to pick when it comes to your parents. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again with more news in the future. Thank you very much.